I am back with the final Journal With Me section for my Japan vlogs. I actually thought that this might be 3 videos, but then going through the footage, I realized that I really didn't record as much during the second half of the trip. I think as the trip went on, I just got more not tired. I was going to say tired, but I think just lazy for getting footage. And something strange that I realized is that I got way more footage when it was raining. I think I seemed to be really inspired by the rain. It just made everything look interesting and very cinematic. So these spreads are a little bit all over the place because I not only didn't take much footage, I don't think I took too many photos as well. And I'm the sort of person that actually does regret not taking many photos. I feel like when I look back on a memory or try to get photos from that day, I regret not having more photos. These little moments tend to slip through my fingers so easily, and it's just so nice to be able to have a way to document it all. So we're just picking up with the spread right from where we left it in the last video. So we went to Tokyo Skytree again the next day, but for breakfast we went to Tully's on the river, and we got there pretty much just as it opened, so it was really quiet. I'm showing you my new brush pen that I got. I'm really excited about this. I think I mentioned it in a previous video, but I have been so keen to get a brush pen. I had been planning to get the one from Officeworks, which is a Tombow. I haven't really done any research into brush pens, and I feel like I won't know what works for me until I try it, so I was too impatient to go to Officeworks, so I just picked up this one from Daiso. It was just a random one. I think they had like 4 different types of brush pens, but this one looked like the kind of thickness that I wanted, and I'm really happy with it. I don't really know what I want until I use it more, but I feel like I'm already so obsessed with this brush pen, and it's just such a nice way to break up a page without using any stamps, because while I love using those mini stamps to make the headings, when I'm traveling, I'm not going to bring those little stamps and a stamp pad because I think it's a little annoying. So I feel like the spreads I'm going to do in this video is pretty much going to be how I'm going to travel journal. I'm going to use this brush pen to make the headings and then just fill out the rest of the page with a regular pen. I'm not very creative or fancy with it. I just really like writing a big title, so at a glance you can kind of see. I mean, the photos tell you what the page is about, but I feel like the heading just brings it all together as well. So here clearly I'm just journaling about our breakfast at the Tully's, at this particular Tully's, because it had such a beautiful view of Skytree, and the first photo in the top right corner is actually a film photo that Kevin took of me. I asked him to take a film photo there, and I felt very brave. I felt very proud of myself for having the courage to take that photo, because I do really like that photo. I feel like it's just very Tokyo to me. But I'm just writing about what we had, how we did a bit of work, and I saw like these 2 fluffy Pomeranians, and it was just a really nice morning. This was one of the standout like highlight mornings for me. And I realized like doing these journal spreads after the fact that I'm doing the spreads based on the photos that I have, which sounds silly, but I mean, like, I can't really do a spread if I don't have good photos about it. I mean, I can, but I need something to commemorate the memories. I'm also not sure how I feel about the text kind of wrapping around the heading like that. I don't think I left enough room around it, but then I didn't want too much white space either. I feel like I'm still experimenting with the layout and the padding of the heading. Like, I don't know how much space to leave. I don't know the layouts that I like where should I position the heading. But again, I do love how easy it is to decorate a page with just a brush pen. Like, add something different to the page without needing to use any stickers. It's just very travel journal friendly. I'm reusing this layout that I used in the previous vlog because these photos aren't, I mean, I didn't really have anything significant to say about them on their own. I just liked the photos and I liked the memory. So I'm just putting these 2 photos on the same page and just writing a little note about them. As you saw in the video, I pretty much did like daily bath soaks. I don't have a bath in my house, and I am a huge bath lover, so this was just like a non-negotiable. I had to take as many baths as I could, even though it was summer in Japan and very, very hot when we went. I cannot turn down a nice hot bath. In the same way that I just can't resist hot coffee during summer sometimes. The page on the right that I'm doing it was a pretty eventful day. It was nice. We went to Skiji Market. It's a place that I was a little iffy about going to because I know it's a very touristy, crowded place and that you have to go pretty early to avoid the crowds. I think we went kind of late, around 11, like late mid-morning. But we had some time, so I figured I would just check it off the list. Kevin took this really nice photo of these scallop skewers, and I saw someone else eating it, and I knew I had to try it. Unfortunately, it did not taste as good as it looked. But there was something else that I tried that you would have seen in the vlog. It was this like battered crab stick. That one was really, really good. So yeah, the scallop skewers, they look great. They look really juicy, but they were grilled and a little bit chewy and tough. So I think I'm definitely more of a fresh scallop girl. I had a giant oyster. I probably could have eaten like 12 more of those, but I just had one oyster and some sashimi with Kevin. Again, it was kind of early, around 10, so I felt like my stomach wasn't really up to all of that fresh seafood yet. But we didn't stay long at the market because it was so crowded, but we still managed to eat quite a bit of stuff. I got some ice cream as well. And then we got this iced coffee from a cafe that was apparently where John Lennon used to love to go. I don't usually care for these facts, but I just thought it was funny and that I would try out the cafe. But then once we left the market, we walked to, I'm not quite sure how to say this, I think it's Hamariku Gardens. I didn't realize you had to pay to get in, but it makes sense. A lot of parks in Tokyo, you do have to pay, and it's so well taken care of that it makes sense. It was a beautiful park, and we walked around for a little bit, just people watching and taking photos. I filmed a cute little reel on the bridge with Kevin, but mostly the main reason we came here was so that I could film a Patreon podcast episode. And I was filming a video portion for my insider and workshop patrons. The rest of my patrons got the standard audio version. So we set up the camera, which was a little embarrassing. But the great thing about Japan is that people generally don't stare too much because they know how rude it is, and because we are Asian, we look Asian, I feel like we're not drawing as much attention as well. But yeah, we filmed a podcast episode. It was really nice to do that in the park. I've never done that before. And then we just used our phones as a microphone. We just shared the one phone. I like how I use the brush pen to write the headings, but I don't think I like the arrows because I also used arrows on the left side and it just feels like too many arrows. And I feel like it breaks up the layout of the page too much. I'm definitely overthinking it, but if I could do it again, I think I would leave out the arrows, but I do like how the brush pen heading looks. I feel like the style that I'm using for these spreads is quite different to the spreads I did in the previous video. I used a lot more stickers and collage elements, and I definitely didn't have the brush pen, so I was stamping a bit more. But I love both equally. I just really love, again, I'm going to rave about it, how easy it is to use a brush pen to break up the page. I'm in the honeymoon stage, guys. I'm sorry. I'm raving about it. It's only been less than a week since I've had this pen and I've been using it, so it's still very fresh to me and I'm very excited about it. But I've been using it pretty much on every single journal page that I've been making. This spread that I'm making is one of the highlights from our trip. So I'm not a car person at all. I just happen to know a bit about cars because I am married to a huge car fan. And not only just a regular car fan, he is a huge Japanese car fan. That's just one of his lifelong passions, and he's grown up reading and researching, and he works for 3 different companies, but they are all to do with Japanese cars. So to say that he loves Japanese cars is an understatement because he loves everything about them. So to go to Japan and for him to experience this was pretty fun. It's not our first time renting a car in Japan. The very first time we did it was fun to drive, and that one was actually really expensive. So I would say it's actually much cheaper to rent a car on your own and figure out a way to drive. Japan drives on the same side as Australia, so it's nothing too scary. Getting an international license is very easy. Again, not a car person at all. I don't even have my license. I don't know how to drive. I'm just not interested in cars or driving whatsoever. But I love seeing my husband get really excited about this, and I get really happy when he's happy. So we found this company, well, I found this company for him where you can rent a car, but it comes with like a free self-guided tour. And at first I was like, is this a scam? Because this is too good to be true. Because the whole point of renting the car was that he wanted to go to Daikoku, PA, which is like this parking area, which is really, really famous if you know the JDM, like Japanese car scene. And so there's a lot of underground like car meets and like parking areas, but Daikoku, PA is a really, really popular one. And it's pretty much full every Friday, Saturday, Sunday, every single week. And the only way you can get there is with a car. Like there's no public transport you can really take. But we were able to rent this car, which was an MX-5 in the most let's say vibrant shade of green. I really hoped we would get the red one, but no, we were stuck with the bright green one. But it had the little pop-up headlights and was just so cute. And it's a convertible, so we were driving it on the Tokyo streets, but it was like $88 to rent this car, to drive it ourselves for 3 hours, but also be guided, like we were following a car to go to Daikoku, PA. So it was the most incredible deal, and I would recommend it. But it seems like shortly after we did this tour, they got rid of these cars and they don't do MX-5s anymore, and they only do GTRs, and the price now, instead of $88, is like now $500, $300 or $500. And yes, granted, GTR is a much cooler car, but I really loved how affordable it was, so I don't know if I can recommend it. I would look into just renting your own car and trying to make your way there. It's not too difficult if you just put it into Google Maps, which is pretty much what we use anyway, even though we were following the guide. But yeah, I was just very happily a passenger princess and just tagging along. I printed off these photos from the first vlog. What am I trying to say? The first vlog, when I printed off a bunch of photos, I also had these printed off as well. And I hadn't really planned the spreads or anything. I was just going through my photos and seeing what photos I wanted to print out. So this time is not really events memory based. It's more just like, oh, hey, I like this photo. I remember this memory. I'll print it out and try to create a spread out of that. But what happened was, it turned out to be a bit of a stretch with these photos because I don't have enough to write about to fill a whole page based on these photos, and they don't really fit together. So I was kind of scrambling for things to talk about. On the left, I just made it a Coffee in Tokyo page, and I just talked about how I really enjoyed waking up every morning and trying a different cafe every time. And I mostly like going to cafes where there is space to sit down and work for a little bit. So there needs to be some sort of an ambience and a vibe where it's okay to work. So Kevin and I would bring our laptops and do a little bit of work. I think though, ideally, this would be a great time for me to catch up on any journaling during these cafe morning moments. Like, I've been wondering when is the best time to sit down to journal properly, because I really would love to do some real-time journaling, just writing. And I think in the morning is when it's best, but also there's always a bit of time, like a pocket of time in the afternoon after, you know, we've eaten lunch and we've done some shopping and we're kind of just tired and not hungry anymore, and we're all shopped out because we've been walking all morning. And that's usually when we go back to the hotel for a little bit, or we just sit at a park or sit somewhere nearby with seats. And I think it'd be nice to find a cafe for the afternoon. And I only drink coffee once a day, but I could totally get a different drink, something decaf, and we could maybe get a snack, some cake. It'd be really nice to have a little afternoon cafe moment. I could catch up on so much journaling, and we'd have a proper table to do it. I wouldn't be in some cramped, small, dark hotel room. But also, I was thinking, this is the way I'm justifying it, it would be a great way to try new cafes, new places, because there are so many places to eat. And even though we try a different cafe every single morning, there's still so many that we haven't tried. So that is my new plan. I know that seems way too extra planned for a trip that's like months away. This is how my brain works. I need to plan this out. And of course, I will try as much as I can to get footage. I am usually quite awkward in public filming or taking photos, and I really hate the feeling of people staring at you or judging you, but I have gotten a lot better. And as part of my theme for this year, which my patrons are probably sick to death of hearing, but my theme for this year is to take up space. And if you remember in my 2024 planner video, that includes like journaling in public and just taking up space in public, not hiding. So the next step for me is to feel a little bit more confident filming in public as well. But yeah, again, like I said, I'm really stretching for something to write about in these two spreads because I didn't really plan it out. I just liked the photos, but there wasn't anything in particular I wanted to say, and I actually don't like the sushi page that I made. I was pretty much just raving on about sushi trains in Japan and how I know people will say it's not the best quality. If you want great quality sushi, you've got to go to the local places, and I totally agree, but I think it serves different needs for different people, and we love very, very cheap, easy feeds. And so sure, I could get much better quality sushi, but at what cost? So I really like how cheap sushi trains are in Japan. Like, it cost us around $25 like every time we went, and we ate quite a lot of plates, whereas if we ate the same here in Australia, that would cost easily $50 to $60, and it would not be as fresh either. So yeah, I feel like people get a little bit weird about the food in Japan because they say like, oh, it's such a waste to eat at convenience stores. But I would argue that that's part of the experience. Like, the cheapness is a bonus, but that's not the kind of experience I can get here in Australia at that price and for that convenience. So I did feel bad at first because I felt like, well, if I'm here in Japan, I should be eating at restaurants. But again, it fulfills different needs for different people. So I would say don't feel guilty about it. Eat the food that you like and is within your price budget. So I am a big advocate for sushi trains and convenience store dinners because, again, that is a very Japanese experience in itself. And I'm not trying to deny that there aren't better foods out there, but again, we're not the fine dining type of foodies. I have a specific budget for when we travel, and we really love the convenience of just eating in our hotel room as well, like having an early night. In case you're judging me, we did eat out quite a lot as well at different restaurants, so we're not afraid to indulge every now and then, but the cheap, delicious food places will always be my go-to. So I printed out some more photos for the final spread, but I don't think I used the right settings and these photos came out so dark. It's fine because you can still see like what's going on in the photos, but it does look a little weird and dark compared to the other photos that I printed out. But this page on the left is a place that we went to in Tokyo. I forgot where exactly in Tokyo now, but it was at the Mandarin Oriental Hotel in Tokyo, which is crazy expensive. We did not stay there, obviously, but they have this restaurant in there, which is one of the top restaurants in the world for pizzas. I want to say 7th, but I'm not too sure. I need to look that up. It's definitely in the top 50. Apparently, I'm on Google right now. Apparently, in 2023, the year that we visited, it was ranked the first, like, #1 pizza place in the Asia Pacific. So they ranked first place in the 50 Top Pizza Asia Pacific 2023 and ranked 4th place in the 50 Top Pizza World 2023. So it's ranked 4th in the world for pizza. So it is extremely fancy, but I liked it because, well, let me say, I wanted to book this place as a surprise for Kevin because he loves pizza. I love pizza. And I wanted a place somewhat special to celebrate our honeymoon because this technically was our honeymoon, but I wanted to celebrate us just getting married as well. And I liked how this was a bougie place, but it was pizza. Not to be rude, but you know, how bougie can pizza be? So I really liked how casual this place was, even though it was so highly ranked and so popular. There is a 3-month waiting list and you have to book 3 months ahead, and it was actually booked out for a really long time, and I kept trying to book on their website. Like, I was checking every single day for months and I couldn't find anything, and I was getting desperate, so I emailed them directly and they told me everything was booked out. But then a few days later, they messaged me saying, because you emailed, we can give you priority if you can tell us by the end of the day if you want this slot. I was like, yes, book me in. That is amazing. It was pretty much the exact day that I wanted. So we went at lunchtime because it was considerably cheaper than dinner, I think. I think there was a deal, but It was a counter style restaurant, and Kevin and I both really love counter style restaurants. It's just casual, but you get to watch the chef. It's just so nice. So yeah, I didn't tell him about this at all, and I'm really, really terrible at keeping secrets. I just got so excited and I just wanted to blurt it out so many times, but I did surprise him and he really liked it. It ended up being around $250, which is quite expensive. But again, considering this is the number one pizza place in the whole of Asia Pacific and the number 4 pizza place in the entire world, I think that's pretty fair considering. Also, we ordered 2 pizzas, an entree, 2 drinks, and a dessert. And we also got a free dessert that said Happy Honeymoon, which was really, really sweet. Again, it was pizza, so we didn't feel intimidated. It was just like the perfect level of fancy for us. But I highly recommend it. It was a beautiful location. It's a restaurant kind of within another restaurant, so that's a bit awkward, but I'm really glad that I was able to book that in, and I'm really glad I was able to keep that a secret from Kevin, because so many times I wanted to just tell him, but he didn't find out until we got there. So that was really cool. I don't have many opportunities to surprise him. I feel like he doesn't have many opportunities to surprise me either. He always somehow ruins it, but that was definitely a highlight of our trip as well. And then in the last few days of our trip, probably the last week, we generally don't shop at like typical, I don't mean that in an annoying hipster way, but like, so he loves cards. He's a big card collector. And so most cards are secondhand because it's a whole trading system. So he really loves to look at secondhand cards, which is a big thing in Akihabara and Ikebukuro. But I really love secondhand shopping because it's in my budget and you find such a diverse range of things. And it's just fun. I love the hunting aspect of it. So for the last few days in the week, we went book off hopping, and we just looked up on Google Maps any nearby book offs that looked big enough. So you can go to a regular book off, but there's book off plus and then book off super bizarre. Those are huge, like multi-story buildings, but we just looked up on the map and went to whichever was close enough, and we just spent the whole day going book off hopping. And as you saw in the vlog, I also went to Shimakirazawa, but I wasn't a big fan of it. Like, it's great as an experience and to browse, but the style of clothing and the prices were just not for me. Even though I do love to thrift, I'm not a like cool thrifter. I thrift very normal looking clothes, but I still recommend going to Shimakirazawa just for like experience of browsing. It's all very curated, so it's quite expensive. But my favorite way to thrift is going to all of these book offs. That was probably my favorite and my husband's favorite thing to do on the trip. But anyway, that brings us to the end of the video. I hope you like this video. I'm not sure if I will repeat this kind of video because hopefully in the future I will be journaling most of the time in real time. I still might show you the flip through when I get back home and need to stick in all the photos, of course. But thank you so much for watching. Thank you for listening to me ramble this whole time, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!